earlier session, I was the discussion long back in IMPRI.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your voice is breaking.
Well,
Yes.
good evening, friends. To the 13th part of our series under the state of gender equality, #GenderGaps, which is brought to you by Gender Impact Studies Center of at IMPRI, that's Impact and Policy Research Institute, in collaboration with Delhi Post News, Gender Center for Research and Innovation, and Cinemakers Mission International. Today we have a very interesting presentation, which is women's representation in India's corporate and management sector. And we have Professor Sampati Guha to talk on it. A little introduction of Professor Sampati. Well, she's working as a professor and chairperson at the Center for Social Entrepreneurship, School of Management and Labor Studies, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. She is a development economist and has done her PhD in economics from Jadavpur University in 2004. After a PhD, she worked in reputed institutions such as Indian Institute of Dalit Studies, New Delhi, and Institute of Rural Management, Anand, Gujarat. In 2006, she was selected as Sir Ratan Tata Fellow at the London School of Economics and Political Science, UK, for her postdoctoral study. In 2007, she joined Tata Institute of Social Sciences and launched a new MA program in social entrepreneurship and has run the center single-handedly for 3 years. She has mentored more than 40 social startups. Her areas of research are microfinance, women's entrepreneurship, microenterprises, social entrepreneurship, financial inclusion, and development economics. She has published articles in national, international journals and books. She has attended more than 30 national and international conferences. Well, friends, I think, this is a very important topic that we're going to have today. And just to tell you that, Indian society and industries are predominantly under the control of patriarchal system. This leads to occupational segregation in the field of management, specifically, as well as in the labor market in general. Through the representation of women managers, though the representation of women managers in the Indian industries are increasing phenomenally, these managers are continuously facing the problem of glass ceiling. The talk today attempts to explore the impact of different factors such as organizational, social, and personal on career growth of women managers. We also attempt to understand the importance of diversity in the management practices in these industries. So over to you, Professor Sampati, to take us through this very, very important topic, trying to break the glass ceiling or understand the glass ceiling. So over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Indu-Prakash. Thank you, Dr. Arjun, to call me for this talk, and I'm grateful to all IMPRI team members to give me a chance to share my, research work. Today, actually, I will talk about the status of women management or representation of women in the management, okay, in the corporate sector. From outside, you feel that getting a good job, good education, so women are at the high side of the ladder. But reality, is something different. They do a lot of hard work, but at the end of the day, it's true that they still belong to a patriarchal society, and there are several problems like glass ceiling. This is a study of women management in select industries by joint study by Dr. Sanskruti Kadam and Dr. Sampati Guha, and supported by ICSSR. So when we look at the women in the management, if you look at the the words which are coming up, talent management, then there are a lot of diversity, cultural diversity, gender diversity in the management, and also there are several problems of the related to the gender stereotyping, glass ceiling, also factors impacting management representation. So if you look at the left side figure where women representations, you can see few of the women at the very high position in the corporates. In terms of like, if you look at the CEO or executive directors, all these positions, you always see, not only in India, it's a worldwide phenomenon that there is a male domination um, in case in the corporate management. So this is the picture in our country now. You can see that a lot of girls are now in the school getting good degree. They scored high marks. Any universities, you can take the data, but then somehow they also enter the labor market with all these accolades and the scholarship, and somehow there is an unknowing barriers on their career path. So there are a lot of invisible hands which stop them to go to the peak. So I also studied a lot of gender gap reports from 2006 it started. So till now, even 2020, also ILO reports, the thumb rule is the higher up an organization's hierarchy, the fewer the women. So junior level, you can see a lot of women. Middle level, it is the percentage is going, reducing, and top level, there are few. So when I do the literature review, I see that all global gender gap reports, the major thing is coming up that invisible barrier continues to exist even today. There are not much change. If I consider from 2011 to 20, almost 10 years, most high paid jobs, high level positions are led by males. No country, including the top ranked ones, also have yet achieved gender parity in wages. And there are study also says that only 29 women were successfully made their presence into the entire list of 1,999, and Meg Whitman is the only one woman who had been included in the top 50s. And World of Work, it says that women's educational level, work participation are increasing worldwide. However, majority women continue to face occupational segregation at the workspace, and also it restricts women from top level management and professional position. So scenario, when I look at the India, while female students securing engineering, business degrees with honors from excellent institutes, still most of positions in India are held by men. And today, I was also searching the 2020, is there any change in the global gender gap report? I saw that among 153 countries, India is the only country where the economic gender gap is larger than the political gender gap, which is very rare. And only 1/3 of the gap has been bridged. So score of 35.4% is that their gender gap thing. And India actually, in the gender parity index, it is going down 7 points. They they lost. Female estimated earned income is a mere 1/5 of the male income, which is also among the world's lowest. So that's where we are now. When we are looking at the what are the reasons for the barriers to women on board, I mean that the higher position, executive director or the board of members, so there the problem from different dimensions. Sometimes institutional side, structure, age, all these also matter to incorporate the women. Now there are also a lot of women because we belong to the patriarchal society, and there are a lot of responsibility, domestic responsibility. So work family balance is also very difficult for the women, and that also put a barrier. Lack of role model, because if you look at any particular individual woman, after the office, they don't have any time. They just run from one workspace to another workspace. They don't have any culture of the coffee club, right? After the work, like men. So in that sense, they don't have the role model like the male managers they have. And there is no space for the discussion about their own career or one work, or informal learning space is very, very limited for the women workforce, especially the men managers here also. Then if women have the difficult managers, seniors, it also put a very big limitations for their riding this ladder. Lack of line experience. There are also, we have a typical thought that I can remember during my days in Jadavpur, a meteorological engineer woman who topped the university, but he was not taken by the big companies because they were not comfortable to send the women in the production area. So so those are the thought also put a pressure the women to get a very limited experience in the when they join the workforce, and because they have lack of experience, then they cannot compete with the male managers. Lack of supportive and cooperative environment. Sometimes they don't get the supportive and cooperative environment at a workspace. Lack of social capital. I already told you that there is no culture of the coffee club after the work, so they cannot form bond with other managers, so they have a very less access to the social capital. Then there are other barriers also. So societal barriers, when we see that I already mentioned that gender stereotyping, that women cannot do those work. Okay, women cannot go for the marketing and sales, or women, okay, you just take up HR jobs, okay, or CSR kar lo. Hmm. Those are the things. If you talk to the women managers, they you can listen that they are that's the way team is formed. Patriarchy, gender status, belief system, even your higher authority also believe that you should take care of your children first, and in-laws and husband, and then you think about your career growth. Gender norms, gender role, discriminations. There are several forms of discriminations, not only the I already told you that the work line experience wise also women are discriminated. Apart from discrimination, there are several forms of harassment, mental harassment, sexual harassment. There are several forms of harassments also women are facing. And occupational segregation, that also leads to a very limited experience in their career path. And then it also results put a glass ceiling or the glass wall to go to the higher position. So glass ceiling and glass walls also. So in this figure, you can see that the left side is the basically the men who are cross the glass walls, and then also they are cross the glass ceiling. But in the right hand side, your majority of the female, you can see that they entry at the entry level, middle level management, they are there, but they somehow for unknown reason also they are not able to break this glass ceiling and the glass walls. This is by Linda Wraith and ILO 2004. So this is the situation. So why there are few women in the executive position? Why they are there? What are the success factors? So when we looking at the success factors, and the literature is saying that few organizations, they adopted gender diversity policies. So they decided that at least this percentage of the workforce should be women. So that could be reason that there are women on board. Technological changes, when there is a sharp change in the technology, so then every organization to survive, they recruit the skilled workforce. And if the women are more skilled, you can see that those organizations have more women. Demand for human resource. Sometimes, some states, they put a condition that if you recruit the women, so then, your human resource constitution should be like that. Legal requirement, personal competencies. Sometimes, there are the women, few women who are doing excellent job. So then your society or organization cannot ignore them. Those are very exceptional cases. So personal competency, due to that also women reach that board. And also national and affirmative actions. There are few countries who take up it as a national affirmative actions to push the women in the decision making. So when I look at all the literature, what I found that it is very relatively new field, and generally when we look at the gender studies, we talk about the work pressure and all this work-life balances, and also a lot of violence happen to the women. All those literature are available, but women in management as a research field is relatively new. Limited research on women as executives, managers, and administrations in the corporate world. And most of the time we get the literature from either USA or Japan or France or Scandinavian countries. So statistics are available there. However, very few from India, very limited from Mumbai city itself. And most of the studies have confirmed that certain barriers exist and mainly focus on family work balance and role conflict issue. Okay, because you are sometimes you are wives, you are mother, and then you are executive. So that those are the conflicting all the time. You are switching a hat, and maybe those are the reasons. So very narrow approach. Most of the studies have taken up. So what we see that there are a lot of lack of theoretical perspective. So research work done earlier has neglected theoretical understanding of the phenomenon of glass ceiling and glass wall, and these are indeed descriptive in nature, and separate studies for personal work, organizational, social factors. But what we have done here, we take all the dimensions, and our sample size is also quite high, 560 respondents, and they're both male and female managers, because their male managers perspective is also matter when we are talking about the women representation in the corporate. And when we are looking at the sample across 22 industries, we have collected 46 departments and levels: entry, middle level, and the high level management. And for analysis, we use the exploratory factor analysis to find out which are the factor impacting women in management from all the dimensions. And then we also confirm that the association among all those factors with the women in management. So that's why conformative factor analysis we have done. So broad objectives of our study was to explore the status of women in management in Indian industries in Mumbai, to understand why they are progressing in some industries and why they are falling behind their male counterparts in some industries, and to explore the barriers and success factors for women's career development. So for this study, we have taken these four factors: personal factors, social factors, organizational factors, and work factors. So if you look at our 560 data set, according to the qualification, the most highest qualification, it is collected based on the collected sample. The doctorate percentage is more among the women, and other bachelors and the masters, nowhere there is much difference. But in women representation as their area of specialization, if we see, we can see that the women are a few in case of the technical, but professional and general, they are almost sometimes professional, there are more representation. Why technical? Because that is also due to that stereotypical thought about our society that women should not pursue science and technology, they should pursue arts, they should be the teacher or the professor or maybe primary school teacher, they should not join the industry or the corporates, right? So that's why you can see the technical representation is very low. Religion wise, this is very obvious, always category of executives, if you see, it's always the privileged class, and also in case of the religion, we know that the Hindu majority is there. But sector wise, women, if we look at the women representation, we can see that we thought that manufacturing we will not get any women, but we surprised that manufacturing there are 7.7% women was there from our data. And organizational status, more women are in the private sector, in the sense among women. It is also the men and women have the similar trend. And women representation per gender also, you can see that in our data, male percentage was 81% and 19 is the female. And management level, if you see, you can look at the upper portion of the bar, where you can see that the women are mostly in the middle, 12.1%, and 5.2 is the junior level. And also level in the organization, if you see, you can see that what is the top level, 91.1% are male and 8.9% are women. So that is a small data set, right? In the sense, if I consider the India, and then it is a small data set, but then also it is it's showing the representation of India. And if we see the industry-wise presentation of executives, the women executives are more into banking, finance, engineering, technological company, and these are the three things where you can see that each of the industry is need higher qualification, educational qualification. And women representation as per total experience, so we take several years of experience, 6 to 10, 11 to 15. In our data set, majority belongs to 11 to 15 years, and generally major, that's why you can see that middle level management we got more data set. And gross salary also for the women, you can see that as increases the wage increases, you can see the few women. Okay. And department, this is a very interesting data set. Department of executives, if we see, this is the gender main executives, where they are more in the civil, construction, export and import, procurement. I can show you the occupational segregation. Okay, project management, sales, marketing, and you can see that banking, retail, very few men. Now look at the women. So they are more in the intellectual property, retail management, banking, but civil, construction, export, import, procurement, you can see hardly any women. So that's the occupational segregation exists in case of in the and that too in Mumbai city. And so you can see that the problem of gender stereotyping is so important here. It's a very prominent problem in Indian corporates also. And so when we are, I'm not talking about the methodology per se, but what we have got from the analysis that I can show you, that which are the variables or the factors actually coming under the personal factors, work factors, which actually impacting the women in management. So their age, gender, marital status, personal factor, generally your socioeconomic profile, number of kids, even Age of kids very it matters, and total work experience of the manager are significantly positively associated with the representation of women at the management level. And number of dependents, qualification, specialization are not so significantly associated with the representation of women in the management, just like the male counterpart. In their case, maximum studies said that number of dependents also matter. Workforce, and you can also notice that qualification in case of women representation in management is not positively related. So if I am overqualified or I'm highly qualified, I might not be selected, I might not be recruited for that top position. It's also coming from our result. Work factors, type of work, allocation of key assignments, department, which department I belong to, who would be my senior, that also matters for my performance. And number of office hours in a week, average number of outdoor duty hours in the week are significantly positively associated with the representation of women at the management level. For example, if women are getting the flexible hour, there women can grow. Sometimes you can see that if it is a very much touring job, then women, they don't want to also apply for the when we are talking to them, they said that we don't apply because we know that higher position I can get, but it's so much tours are demanded from us. We can't give that kind of time because we have a lot of other responsibilities. So organizational factors, organizational status, whether it is a startup or whether it is established old companies, or the size of the organization, tenure, how long you are there, the total number of organizations you worked, because Indian corporates, any sector, you can see that there are a lot of job changes. Okay, they say that if we don't change the job, we don't get the hike. Okay, pay hike we don't get. So it's better if you change your job every 3 years or every 5 years. So organizational culture, mentoring and coaching, several organizations, they have a lot of training programs and coaching programs. Those also matter. Role model, existing role model or training and development and networking significantly positively associated with the women representation. So type of industry, age of in the organization, organizational structure do not influence the women participation in the or the representation at the management level. Social factors, when we see that category, religion, harassment does not show significant negatively association with the women at the management level in Indian industries. So across the religion, across the category, social category, women have the similar kind of problems and the barriers. And harassment, most of the time when we also did a lot of focus group discussion and before survey, a lot of case studies also we did. Most of the time women are very scared to report about their harassment if they lose their job. So most of the time, this, especially in case of sexual harassment, these are not reported. And that's why in our data also, though we didn't collect the name, but then also they were very much concerned about when they are writing the answer of those questions. So and it is also happening, male managers also, when we ask them, they were in our case study, they said that I think we should avoid this because it happened everywhere and you also may know, but inside the company or outside also, we cannot talk about it. Discrimination and gender role perceptions showed significantly negative association with the women at the management level in Indian industry. Um, so it puts pressure on the women. And also one more thing I need to mention about the harassment. They said that we have seen the consequences of the reported cases, you know, when they were isolated, they were not given other facilities. So when they report about those who have reported, those victims are also very badly treated, and that also created a pressure on others not to report about the harassment. So even everywhere you can see the gender cells and all these. And when we look at the personal factors, we saw that which actually give us impetus to grow. There we found that in the personal factor, emotional intelligence, extrovert personality, demography matters, technical skills matter, conceptual skills matter, because there are several managers who said that some of us pick up very quickly, some of us we can't pick up new things quickly. So openness, personality, learning capacity, all these are a very positive thing. Work factors for women, leave structure, work pressure, key assignments, all these matter a lot when they for their growth, career growth. And work life balance, of course. Organizational factors, there are several organizations who also help the women to do network with other departments or other companies. There are organizational culture which is more women friendly, that also help. Work flexibility is very much important. It is across men, women, every managers, they said that work flexibility is required for the women to grow. Child support policies, there are several organizations who have daycare center and all those facilities. So those organizations also help women to grow. Tenure in the organization, if you are for long time, then organization also believe in you, and then you get little bit facility. Child support policies, equal opportunities policies, all those policies also very much positive for the women. Social factors which actually stop their growth, that is the patriarchy, discrimination and harassment, gender stereotyping. There are few managers who said that we wanted to pursue science, but our we forced to take up English as literature, and later on we cracked the cats and we studied management in the IIMs. So there are, and they said that if we can study the science and then the combination, engineering and the management combination, that also company give more importance. So they said that this gender stereotyping, sometimes even if we have we want to pursue something, we are not allowed to pursue. Hmm. Gender roles, gender bias, gender identity, that's also very much important. There are the social background sometimes matter. Social background, I mean not the only the class or caste or religion, but where you grew up, that regional space also. So when I look at those estimation of the personal model, basically the personal factors, we see that probability of personal factors to positively influence women in management is highly significant. Means all those factors are highly significant for the growth of the women. And when we look at the probability of skills, personality, demography also positively influence, because I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty of the marks, but only I can show you that the p value is it says that it is significant at the 99%. So now so all the factors separately we have taken up. And work factors, I already told you that the work-life balance, leave structure, all these are positively affecting the women's career growth. And then we also look at the organizational factor, basically the training, development, organizational culture, networking, mentoring. Those are really play a very good role in case of the women growth and in women representation. Social factor, generally gender preference, patriarchy, gender stereotyping, all these thoughts, all these factors highly influence the women, influencing, but not so, not in case of the personal, not organization. I want to show you this. Work-life balance and all these work factors are positively showing that influencing. Now, if I go to the organizational factor, training, development, all these are positively influencing the women growth. But look at the social factor, where we are not getting any significant influence on the women growth. So when I look at the all results, all the findings, we see that low representation of women managers in Indian industries. Already we are getting the similar result which gender gap reports and the ILO reports are saying, that representation is significantly low as compared to male representation, and women representation at the management level positions in segregated Indian industries. Occupation segregation is evident. Till now, it might act as one of the major factor for women's limited career growth, because they are not getting chance to prove themselves in different other occupation also. More representation in the service sector, even if they have the degree but they were not recruited in the manufacturing sector. It's very male intensive industry. Sectoral representation of women in management in India more in private than in public sector, working in specific departments. Not all departments you are going to get the women representations. And nature of glass ceiling and glass wall in Indian industries, if we look at this, and why I consider Mumbai, because it is a financial capital and there are a lot of business are happening here. There are several industries headquarter is situated in Mumbai. Women representation is around 5% at the junior management level, 12% at middle management level, and only hardly 2% in the top. So you can think about what is the nature of the glass ceiling and glass wall exist in Indian industry, in these select industries. Gender pay gap is evident at the management position. Women executives are paid less salary as compared to their male counterparts at every management level. Men have received more promotions also, and that's why they are in the top management level. 91% of them are there. Diversity in demographic pattern across management levels. So gender, age, marital status, number of kids, number of dependents, their social backgrounds, all these things are very similar kind of thing we are getting. So you can see that long time, ILO published the report 2004, gender gap report 2011, 2014 to 2020. Every report, our result is conforming with them. So there is no change in the women representation. Significantly higher number of women executives have bachelor degrees than men. However, their percentage decreases in master's level, which supports the UGC report 2013 also. Similarly, many executives have showed higher preference for technical fields than women executives. That a big barrier for the women, especially in the manufacturing industry. Management positions are majorly held by general caste of Hindu religion, whereas the representation of other religions and categories in management is insignificant. So that study also concludes that total work experience of the women executives is lesser than the men executives at the management level. And I already said. Now, personal factors, if we take the Becker's human capital theory, all other theories, old theories, the study supports that personality, that extrovert, emotional intelligence, conscious personality, agreeable personality, openness, all these factors matter for the growth. Further, it also states that conceptual skill, technical skill, human skills are significant to career growth and progress at the management level. Under demography dimension, it is often that individual profile and family profile also have a high positive association with women in management. If your family is supportive, you will do well. If your family is not supportive, and if you are always under a heavy pressure of patriarchy, it's very difficult for you to grow in even in the management also, even if you are given a higher position, you know. So work factors, if we look at the work factors, key assignment, leave structure, work environment show strong association. Key projects, salary structure, work life balance, all are like other, this point is very common. There are a lot of studies. Absence of these factors may restrict women's growth and in the management level. And organizational policy matters, you know, training development programs, networking, if they get you know, the chance, they can also find their role models, and then they can grow. Mentoring, counseling, organizational culture are also associated positively with the women in management. And so findings and conclusion, barriers to women in management, basically there are a lot of traditional women management practices. Management science grows at a very fast rate, but when you look at the industry, they're still you know, adapting that 50 years old US you know, management policies or Japanese management policies. So they don't innovate their own management policies. Impact of personality and skills on career growth of executives also sometimes, you know, if you get that, you can grow, otherwise not. Exposure to key assets, so lack of exposure to key assignments. Work life balance is also major factor. So where you can see that among lot of factors are you know, closely connected due to the gender stereotyping, patriarchy, and gender role at the management. So gender wise variation in the factors influencing career growth at the management level also very much important. So strategies for career success, while exploring women executives experiences, management executives have agreed that hard work, family support, own ambition. Sometimes women, they don't have their own ambition. They think that whatever we achieve, it's enough. Openness to learn and readiness to take challenge played vital role in their career growth. The career success also was not possible without the organizational support from senior management, networking, mentoring opportunities, all these things. So to conclude, the strategy for career success adopted by the top executives is focus on the performance and taking people along with you, prioritizing things, clear and frank communication. So there also women, sometimes they are lag behind because they don't have the women group who can fight for their discrimination or the harassment, especially in case of the harassment, because there is a fear factor to discuss about that harassment, because they say that in our society, whenever a woman is harassed, then there is a, you know, their character is at the question first. Nobody talk about the person who is harassing. So victims are more marginalized in our society, even in the management. So those are the factors which we found that you know, why women representation is so low in case of whole world, but in case of, particularly in case of Indian industries. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sampati, for this very interesting presentation, and trying to tell us as to what lies under the glass ceiling and under the glass walls. And in fact, you have presented the study on I think various parameters. I think it's a very interesting study, and in fact, I don't need to add much to it because I think all that you spoke about was very clear. And as to what is happening in India is actually a reflection also of the globe. World over, I think surely we are performing much worse. I was, in fact, there was a webinar just before ours webinar, and I heard one of the persons there, I think there was some Dr. Shanti AR, speak about female deficit syndrome. That, on in the sex ratio and everything, there's always a female deficit. So also in the management, there's a huge deficit of women, and the deficit is due to the cultural factors than the personal factors. As you also bring out cultural, social, organizational, and work. So you bring out very beautifully, in terms of why the deficit is there. Also, I think there was one thing when we had this Me Too, cases come up. Then I remember there were many people who were saying that, oh, I think after the Me Too, even the corporate and many organizations are very careful about having women in the top management because it can lead to all kinds of problems, So I think even the corporate sector, in a way, instead of having the ICCs and all that, the Internal Complaints Committee and all, which actually emboldens women to join en masse, I think they took even Me Too as a negative thing, and which I think also, impacted in a way. So what do you think of that? Second, I think you mentioned nicely that also, like when it comes to the women and the men in terms of top management, I think about 91% are men and about 8%, or 9% are women, which talks about, I think the huge, deficit that we have, as such. Then, also maybe, I think it could be also mentioned here that, did the Internal Complaints Committee, which some of this, corporates have, are they really functioning? Are they really serious about it? Do they want to make it work or not make it work? Because much of this also impacts on women joining these sectors, because, and of course, you mentioned about the various personal, work, organizational, and social factors, because of which the glass ceiling really is there. And, also maybe if from a study, I think of the 560 respondents that we had, with about 46 departments, in fact. So if you can also say maybe in your study that you had of various industries and all, did you also come across maybe some industries who might be among the first 5-6 who have some very good practices, which you can say that women would be here in top management, and these industries are open to women, whether it's manufacturing or whether it's service, So why even in this service sector, why this 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 are best? So the good practices, which then can be kind of best practices that can be said that each industry should be having it, And I think one shocking thing which I think I also heard rightly, just tell me rightly or not, that you said that there were more women in the private sector than the public sector in the management.
Yes.
So, which goes to show that how the public sector, which is actually run by the government, is itself failing in following the various practices. It talks about status of women and all those things, which means that private sector has, not that it's done very good job, but private sector, in terms of the public sector we compare, private sector has done something better than the public sector, which I think even the government of India or the various state governments and all should be looking in terms of improving their thing. So with this, I think, just a few comments. I would now invite Govind Kelkar ji and Semi and Arjun and other friends to have the questions that they have, and then we'll have your, responses. Govind ji?
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is very nice seeing you or meeting you, Samapti, after a long time.
But
So,
ma'am, your video is off.
Okay. My voice was there.
Yes.
It is really a pleasure after so seeing you so long. I was looking forward to meeting you. I think you have been very, very comprehensive. So I don't have much to kind of say. But in agreement, I was thinking that lack of comfort on the top management about including women, why it is there, that is the kind of thing. It's not only because of Me Too. Me Too is the recent phenomena,
Yes.
but it is also really around after some time. So I think that one thing that I observed, that women, so long they are shapely in figures, they are attractive bodies, then probably industry takes them, including in the World Bank. It happens like this. As soon as they start exerting their brain, and then probably there is implicit threat, and then that becomes a kind of discomfort on the part of the top management. I was surprised once the interview was there, and this person was very intelligent, and I knew this person who was in the selection committee, and I said, well, she's going to make it, so she's so bright. And I was told in joke over a cup of coffee, oh, she's so fat, she looks ugly, I don't think we are going to take her. I was really surprised. This happened in the university, huh? In a
My
university
God.
like Delhi University. That is the kind of
My
thing.
God.
This is, huh? This is
Yeah.
the kind of mindsets we are talking about. So there's objectification of women as a smart little creatures who can really take care of your commands, and who can smile at your jokes, no matter how kind of nonsensical jokes they may be. That is the culture that has been in industry. It is not that the industry is part of society, it has been in the society also, but it is very evident in the industry when you study. So that is one thing that comes out very well in your study also. That is the lack of access to social network is very. I was in the National Institute of Bank Management, and that time I learned that how many decisions are made really over a cup of coffee in the evening. Everything is discussed, and that the kind of things that have been settled, they are presented in the kind of the next day morning or next day afternoon in the kind of meeting. Now women, after doing their kind of office work, they run home, including when they take trains. They are kind of peeling off the vegetables and other things, preparing for what will be done. The children will be given to them by mother-in-law or someone to take care of the children. Now she has done her duty by taking care of children. So there is so much care work, that balancing work and forget about the balancing work and life. Here is the balancing the productive and the reproductive work. That becomes the real kind of task that they have to do. So this was the complaint. So women remain only at the lower middle level kind of jobs. It is seen as that job is very much liked because they bring in some money. But as soon as they go for career, there is a discouragement at home, there is a discouragement at industry. And this is the really in the kind of patriarchy or masculine norms. They are so much responsible for this kind of attitudes. And that's what I repeatedly quote this World Bank thing, that good economics is really the gender equality is good economics. It is not really only the part of the any kind of part of charity and all this. So long these attitudes remain, then you will see that your human resources kind of not going to flourish. They are not going to
Yeah.
be innovative in their attitudes. They will remain in their kind of clerical positions and not taking any kind of decision.
Yeah.
Including about 30 years ago in the banking sector, it was said, I was in National Institute of Bank Management. So Bagul has shared one story where his secretary has complained when he was succeeded by a woman. He said that he will not take orders from the woman. Huh? He had never
Mhm.
done in his life. Can you believe these attitudes have been so
Yeah.
ingrained? So this has the social norms are prevailing so much. They are conditioned so much mind of the management
Yeah.
that this becomes difficult to overcome. I and another study I did the IT sector, and that is the only thing kind of I wanted to share. And I had two questions. In I was told that IT sector, what they say, they bring, and also in banking sector, women bring home problems to the work. I said, what were the home problems? Oh, sometimes the child is sick, sometimes mother-in-law has fever, sometimes something else. So they kind of, that was the thing, that we cannot give responsible position to women because they cannot concentrate. That was they are not mobile, they don't take and I did that study after that. Okay, they are they don't like transferable jobs. Hmm? And then we found, and that larger number of men have refused transferable jobs than women. So that I was surprised that to see this kind of thing. And excuses were taken. Mother was not well, father was not well, or something or other, but they didn't want to leave Bombay and they didn't want to go. But they remained. They were promoted. Women were not promoted. Only they were not even asked. Their mind, management mind, was so conditioned. That was the thing. And another thing that was said, that work-life balance is a myth that goes on. You go to World Bank and you find everywhere it is written work-life balance, and any man or any woman works till from 8 to 10, or 8 to 9, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. What kind of work-life balance we are talking about? It is, and it happens in banking here. It happens in kind of management. If you want to put it, that is up. So question is that really how to overcome these attitudes, how overcome this patriarchal thing. And I wanted to ask, in view of these two things, one is that what is your position on the book Lean In, that Facebook CEO has pointed out? There have been feminist questions on this, and I wanted to listen your view on that. And then also IT sector firms in comparison to other sectors, not only in terms of employment, I mean, number of, not in terms of numbers, but in terms of creating some flexibility and having different attitudes. These were the two questions that I wanted to ask you. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Thank you for questions. And any other wants to talk, or should I respond now?
Arjun and Simi, anything you want to add to that?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Dr. Indu, Govind ma'am, and Professor Samapti. It was so wonderful listening to you. And the concerns that I had was in part expressed by Professor Kelkar. Perhaps it might be a repetition, and it is totally seconding what Govind ma'am has said. Ma'am, when you say that women do not want, it is said that women do not want transferable jobs, but the reason behind it is not seen. The whole reason is the patriarchal family, which ensures or entrusts greater care work for women. So the reason for patriarchy is leading to patriarchal mindset in the corporate sector, and that is why women at the end are at the receiving end, uh, and then they remain at lower positions than they could otherwise move towards the higher positions. Secondly, ma'am, when you talked about gender equality is about good economics, I would perhaps want to add that it is also about good politics. If you could throw some light on this. And this question was for Professor Samapti, but ma'am, about the Lean In, the book, it is a fascinating book. I mean, this is just my comments, that this is a fascinating book, but it is, we must see that she belonged to a very educated and uh, so to say, family that provided values, and then she moved up to study in one of the best colleges or universities of the world, and perhaps that led her to move towards different great positions in Facebook, Google, and also in the World Bank, etc. So not all women who otherwise possess the talent and the potential are able to have such a backing in terms of family values, and also education. So it is, I think, difficult otherwise for women to move up to to such positions of influence and power. So this was my thought, ma'am. So over to you, Dr. Indu.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Arjun.
Sir, should I also add? Yes, thank you so much, Samapti ma'am, for talking about this issue and also highlighting from your empirical work in many sectors what are the things from from access to participation to also the pay gap, many and other issues, many things you, ma'am, highlighted. One thing I really wanted to understand that what are the management lessons for gender equality per se? There are, many management guru. So what are the best practices in Indian context which can be emulated? Secondly, ma'am, I really, Iceland is from last decade, it is topping the chart,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
for quite some year. And during our research also, we found out that what they are doing is inculcating things from primary education only. But I would say that is a very hard thrown journey. So what should be done, as Govindam also highlighted, what should be done in short term and also in policy measures in long term? We really have many policies to mitigate violence and other taboos. Whenever we talk about participation of women in workforce or in corporate sector, one thing which really comes up is maternity benefit, and then the story is over. And there is really not any push, as Indu sir also highlighted that your study also demonstrated that in private sector there is a lot of participation of women, but in public sector really not. How do you see that we should increase this participation? The pay gap fight is really something which is distant, and it requires a lot of efforts and many intersectionality of things, also evidence to go there. But ma'am, what really you think, as also coming from the management background, what do you think that the voices of women, how it is also being suppressed or not highlighted in the management lesson, and what can be the smart way that women can really participate? Many jobs, as I also wanted to highlight, since we have also the youth demographic dividend, which we say, and the fall in the employment of which we have seen from last to last decade. Really many of our sisters, the young ones, really don't want to get into I would say unsatisfying or half-baked sort of jobs. So it's better not to work. So those things also come, and then there is really this decision to make that what will you do or how you will succeed. So the ecosystem also, it is typically missing, and even when there is participation, there is no leadership. So in your view, how or what are the mechanism through which the leaders are made also, so there is soul in the leadership for gender equality? I will stop here. I have few more technical questions, but let Samapti ma'am really congratulate you to highlight this very pertinent issue. Yeah, in this, sir,
Okay.
what do you?
Yeah, please, Samapti, please, I think you can answer this, and we'll go for some chats and questions that will come later, Yeah, sure. Please.
Okay. So there are several things. So I will give 2-3 examples also during our pre-pilot stages and what they have told me. You are right that banking sector, we always see the more number of women, and also few of the banks also have a very good policy, good policy in terms of not the flexibility of the work, but also the children's policy. And when we see the IT sector, in IT sector, there are some of the industry, I will not say that all, but there are few industries who allow the flexibility of the work, which work for the positive performance of the women also. And one thing I also observed, the moment a woman go for the maternity leave, when they goes for that, and when they come back, the treatment of the organization to that particular employee, completely changed. And this is not only I received from the women managers, but also the male managers. And the harassment is not only the in terms of the action, but also the language is used for those women who just came back from the um, their maternity leave or postnatal care leave, and all these. They started to feel that, are they the same people, whom we all also thought that, so that's why I'm saying that organizational policy matters, but I think that gender sensitization also matters a lot, because the learning we carry from our early childhood and from our the informal learning, the amount of learning we carry and we internalize, get out of that is also really a challenging job. Now, when ma'am was talking about that book, Facebook CEO book, one thing even book release function, if you sometimes YouTube video also I have heard. So she mentioned one thing, you know we need to empower ourselves. How many of us are ready or feel confident to ask for the raise, to ask for the good position? Are we really empowered? Are we using our agencies? We are all educated people. When we entered the management or the management services, are we really empowered? So she is the case where she is saying that we should not, first of all, we need to get out of our gender stereotyping thought and to accept glass ceiling as it is. you know so if we all, many women are started asking all those questions, and why we are not getting the rise, why we are not getting the duties in a different thing, I think she is saying that almost like we can create a movement also. So we should not behave like a masculine figure, because the way Professor Govind also said that in NIBM, that secretary said that I will not follow any instructions or any order of the women boss. It's
In the
also
State Bank of, in the State Bank of India.
State Bank
This
of
was
India.
happening.
Yeah. So almost the similar line she is saying, that first you think how because we are educated, we have lot of degrees, but how much of education we internalize in our day-to-day life, that matters. So organization policy, really we need to do that. And there are several corporates who are basically the multinationals, few of multinationals also, they have to, because they also need to follow the laws and rules and regulations of their country of origin, and that's why they brought the gender diversity too. So they're not only the organization, even state has also its own role, that to put up the policies, and which is very much so. Khali aise beti bachao beti padhao karke to nahi hoga. We have to really think what we are saying. Do we mean that? Do we mean that? Right? And Arjun, you are right that we have to start from the primary education. Otherwise, it will not happen, because in India, when we are looking at the educational gender gap, I have seen in 2020 gender budget report that this is published by World Economic Forum. They are saying that primary education, there is a drop in case of India. So, and also the employment gender gap, we are 149 out of 158 country. So poor ranking we are having. So it's not that only one organization or our personal thing, or all the dimension we need to change. Okay. And also we will not raise our children like our daughters, that okay, sham 7 baj gaya to ghar pe aa jao. We also need to think of how do we raising our kids. We need to make them feel that they are equal. Most of the kids also, they know that they are daughters, so they have to perform certain duties. They are not boys. So it's cultural factor, it's personal factor, it's work related factor, and also the organizations and the state. Okay. So I can see that the problem is multidimensional, and they are very complex in nature. Like the most of the male managers and the female managers also, they said that if we report in the any grievances cell, people who are at that cell, they think that one complaint means और एक झमेला आ गया.
Hmm.
So it is their problem. It is not the people doesn't have the mindset. They don't have the mindset to treat it as a very big social issue. So who are at the leadership, you also need to train them. Most of the time, leadership, they don't have the any training. They are the boss. They don't have the training, and there is a problem. And openness you are expecting from your junior managers. Why you are not? So your learning curve stopped. So as the leadership, like one discussion with one CEO woman, she said that she is in the executive board member also, because she is the CEO, and she's highly qualified, means IIT, IIM, then PhD from Stanford, that kind of person. I'm not talking taking the name of the industry and the woman, because it's a research ethics wise, I cannot take their name. So she said that, what, I am a board member, but all the board decisions, you are right, all the board decisions are taken up after 9 o'clock, because till 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., I most of the time I am at the office. And sometimes we also ask for the board meeting, please, we can have the board meeting from 5 to 8. Then they will show you a lot of excuses, and then they will start at 7 or 8 when I already left. And then all the decisions are taken like 9:30, and then I will get the mail at 1 p.m. 1 a.m. So my whole board is expecting me to wake up till 1, 2, 3, whatever. And they are many numbers. So next day, because it is a majority of voting, so already it is taken up. The decision is done.
Yes,
Even if
let
they
me-
are at the highest level, then also sometimes they don't have the power, and they because the majority number, if they are male, they misuse the power. And even she also said that what happened, because the earlier the women CEO, she accepted this, and there is a history already created. So when women go to the top leadership, sometimes they don't understand that what kind of leadership they are now carrying forward, and how they can create a different system of management, so that the later stage, the women managers, when they reach there is a case for them, that we created our own innovative management. And that CEO said that I might work for 1 year, then I will leave, and I will start my own enterprise. I can't stay here. After so much education, if they misbehave with me like that, they are not abusing me, they are not doing anything, but their act also make me feel very sad, so I might not stay here.
Ma'am, let me, yes, if you're done, let me quickly add few more points. Really, since ma'am, you mentioned that we all should be empowered by, ourselves, Atmanirbhar. So on that economic aspect, really, I wanted to add few things. So ma'am, what typically is coming out as in economic terms, if we see, which from the participation also coming out, that women are less risk taking, or as per their participation, if we see in management or corporate. Is that the case? And if that is the case, there are a lot of programs of Government of India, for example, self-help groups, for example, Stand Up India for marginalized women, loan up to 1 crore of rupees. And then we have a lot of Mudra, so many of schemes for self-employment, and also Startup India, so many of things, happening. There are also, if you have share in women name, a lot of different things also, happening. But really the access to resources, or, power or decision making, as you are really highlighting, that there is also dummy board members per se. Professor Govind's work also on ownership of assets, be it the land, now in this case the shares or other things, decision making. How do you see that really women, even in for the very big corporate in India, be it any big company, we have women there at their board, but they really function as a family, not male female or something like that. So that thing is really inherently coming. But other than being Atmanirbhar or self-empowered or self-employed, I really wanted to ask that what are our economic institutions doing? Govind ma'am really highlighted that what is happening in this National Institute of Bank and other things. How from, because personal or private affairs you cannot enforce any law, but really in public sector or this institution something can be done. So then what WCD, Women and Child Development Ministry department at state level, or NCW or State Commission of Women, what levers do they have to enforce this participation or at least promote? Does affirmative action policy for reservation in private in public sector, will that be the way? Or how do you see the for this gender equality in really this sphere, to, because private sector really embrace some of these things, not very much as the public sector, but really in public sector, how do you see that we have so many of Navratna, so many of these things, and all are men spaces largely. So there is also representation by different caste groups, different religion, but not women. We can see any of the big public, organization, be it any development body also, 50,000 crores they have in their bank account, but no women and all development. So how do you see also for, this public management, how do you see, because those who are coming from private sector, now they are also running this public enterprises. What is, your view from institutional and agency point of view, and also from the self-employed? Govind ma'am, would you like to add anything from the experiences of China and other developing countries, also from East Asian countries, anything? Yes.
I can add something on not China, but definitely NDB. Okay, New Development Bank, and
Hmm.
the all the developing countries and the emerging economies. Now, and when Kamath was there, and he is still there now, it would be changed. As the president, we wrote to him and he invited us to Shanghai, and we went there and we discussed with him this kind of that what is the number of women, is NDB different than the World Bank and others, IMF, because we wanted to have a kind of what would be the character with regard to taking the marginalized people here. We were discussing the marginalized people means women. So he very kind of, he said he has 45% women in his the banking sector, and he says he was very particular about this kind of thing, that we have to be different on the gender question. Now these 45% women, when we ask him in detail about the categories, not a single one was a deputy, okay, not a single was a director. They were all kind of in clerks, and they were all kind of in that kind of category. So this is the number games also is being played. So the question is of the position, which Samapti Guha has pointed out very well, that becomes the glass ceiling. Okay, so it is very difficult to break the glass ceiling. It is being cracked now. I mean, there is some cracking that is happening, but it's still a long way to go. I mean, so I was just thinking that kind of character. In China, also, you find that in terms of the numbers, about more than 36% engineers, management position, women are represented much higher level. I have not seen the recent gender gap report, but that will show. But it is little bit dated picture that I'm giving you. But in the political system, not a single woman is there in the kind of Politburo and the cabinet kind of rank. This is all men. So decision making is, of course, in the hands of men who will talk of. There was a Kang Kaching in the initial kind of thing who was very outspoken. As the Mao's regime was, I mean, Mao was declining in health and all this. And she was quietly moved out kind of thing. She was the one who talked about women's right being the very kind of high ranking in party member also. So this is the China thing. That is of course, the violence has increased there also in the COVID period in China, not as high as in India. India, it is 100%. There, I think the reported is some 40% or something cases. Increase, I'm talking of the increase 40%. So this is the kind of, this COVID situation really brings out the gendered position in the industry and outside industry, what is happening. That is, so and all the another thing I wanted to say, and I will give it the floor to Samapti because this is her kind of that all these schemes that we were talking about, Mudra, this and that, a number of, I mean, why are they implemented? They are made in policies, definitely with a calculation that this is the report that will be presented in general body in the United Nations and giving a very good picture, getting the vote kind of thing that we have done so much. But in effect, nothing happens. We have most progressive laws with regard to the violence against women and domestic violence, okay? And sexual harassment at workplace. And then you see that sexual harassment at workplace continues and domestic violence continues. Domestic violence is so progressive that if the domestic violence happens, that woman and her children have the right to live in that house and the man has to go out. You say that women are not backward. In one state from Rajasthan, 7,000 cases were passed, 7,000 cases were filed in 2005 when this law was passed, who said that they wanted the right to live in that house because men were regularly beating them. And nothing happened. I was that time in UNIFEM. UNIFEM was threatened that it would be stoned because it has advised the government for this law. In fact, UNIFEM has not advised. But this is what they had thought. So you look at the kind of the psyche who are, the people are here, men are in the positions of power. It is not really that men are born by beaters or woman beaters. It is just the kind of position, and this hierarchy and power really operates within your home and outside home. So that's why it is so complicated to change. You cook for them, you smile for them, you sleep with them, a kind of thing. And this is because and this happens there. So there is a fatigue in terms of fighting, and there is also there is a fatigue also. How much to fight, what to kind of, how many little things you fight, you better do it rather than spoil your day in and day out. So this is the game of the privilege and power. That is how I see. But this game has to be changed. It has to be changed, as the Samapti very well pointed out. When the problem is complex, multidimensional, there has to be a multidimensional approach also. And the government has failed to do that. That is these small ad hoc schemes really are not going to. Why don't give you land and housing rights? You have given little surrender to women. That is fine. That's very nice. But why not give housing rights to in the women's name? Why you want this joint right? And then you see immediately your figure of domestic violence will go out. Then she will not face the threat that either you adjust or you go out. I mean, this is the so. And डोली तुम्हारी यहाँ से जाएगी और मरने के बाद उठेगी. All these things will fall apart, this kind of social norms, if you really give this is what happens in Bihar and UP. You will agree with me that यहाँ से डोली जाएगी और मरने के बाद ही उठेगी वहीं से, यहाँ से नहीं होगी. These things are a bit changing, but not changing enough. Thank you. Samapti,
Yeah, before, yeah,
Ma'am,
thank you.
despite, yes, just one point, sir. Despite, ma'am, you as rightly mentioned, fatigue, despite having now the best of the technology, ICT, digital, everything, there is also fatigue in terms of schemes or rather policy, because what as an economist or policy makers we are really doing, not even matching for inflation, but arriving to few numbers in terms of also giving out this credit without looking into what are the various things happening. So there is also, I would say, fatigue in terms of these schemes or policies for also the empowerment or giving access to credit for this matter, as ma'am was also highlighting. Yes, Indu sir, over to you.
Yeah. In fact, we also have Lynn Henry to also with the questions. So maybe Lynn, if you can also ask your questions and maybe add to that. So
Sir,
over to you, Lynn.
sir, for time, Chris, please just mention the few points. Then Samapti ma'am can really
Yes.
answer
yes.
politely. Ma'am, you can choose to answer.
Yeah.
Also
Lynn,
make
you want to say that? Yeah, Lynn, you want to say that?
question Q&A में. I will just read it.
Yeah, पढ़ो उसको पढ़ो.
इतना बड़ा लेन लिखोगे कोई कैसे जवाब देगा? These are many. What is?
Can I respond? I read.
हाँ, बस okay.
Okay, then fine. Yes, please
Okay.
go ahead.
Lean, you are right. There are several occupational segregation we can mention. You know, you are right that plumber, electricians, we have not seen any women, and also it is more your comment. I think. And your observations are also good. Yeah, I also observed during the train journey in Mumbai train that women are so organized. They are cutting their vegetable. They are not wasting any time, because I also mentioned during my talk that we move from one workspace to another workspace. For us, family life is not a leisure life, right? Even we all are unpaid workers, but I feel that more than work, it is the responsibility of thinking, you know, thinking about everything in arranging in a kind manner. That thought, when I see my brother or my husband, I have not seen that, okay, theek hai, nahi hai, okay, we will order. That's the answer. We all, I think, we all privileged class, we receive. And if it is a really, really marginalized class, when because I also work on Mumbai slums and microfinance and women workers and all this. So I see that their response is the domestic violence. Okay, you have not done the cooking, you why there is no chicken, why there is no thing. It's almost like it's women's all responsibility, that why there is not the food, and why there not there the space for the relaxing and all this. So that's the two class I have seen that responding in a different way. Because the privileged class have money, they can order the food, but the marginalized class, they don't have the huge money, so they do the domestic violence. Okay, and I respond to Arjun's question when you mentioned that risk taking. I think we all need to change the narrative. Nobody in this world want to take any risk. Even entrepreneurship theories are also changing. It's risk managing. Okay, and if you say that women are not risk taker, I would say that all our privileged education go into, you should dump all the degrees. In this world, whether they are paid worker or unpaid worker, most of the risk takers are the women, or risk managers are the women.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Then why there is no appointment?
No. If we don't change our narratives as a educated group, I think there will not be changing anywhere. This is the right time to change, and very cautious about that. What are the words we are using?
Yes.
Is it that I am not ready to take the risk or the manage the risk? Or you are scared, that's why you are not giving me the responsibility. And if I am hard that I can't manage risk, you are actually down my confidence level so low, even if I can do, but I am not in a position to take that. And that's why, Facebook COO mentioned that, are you confident? Are you feel confident to say that I need pay rise because I'm working for last 3 years? And Atmanirbhar, it is a, कोई बोल के आत्मनिर्भर नहीं बना सकते हैं, whether it is a state or anything. The moment you feel that I have the agency, the moment you feel that this agency is helping me to access the resource, mobilize the resource, it is not always question of finance. There are other forms of capital which help me to access the resources. And that my true empowerment happened. There are several empowered lady I see in the slums. Okay, so they are giving good education. Their husbands left them. They are working hard. They are giving education to all the children. Childrens are doing well in the labor market. They are also empowered. So empowerment will not come like that, and that's why I say that senior management has a very big role to play, that to give the confidence to your junior management. You take them with you. There are also several leadership theory we don't follow. There are transformative leadership we don't follow, distributive leadership we don't follow. Then my question is that why in the management literature only a particular theory of leadership we all follow in the management organizations? Why we are so feel ease to follow the 50 years back management policy of USA? We also need to create our own management policy. We just can't crave. Okay, there. Otherwise, why few Indian corporates also doing so well? अब देखो ना Azim Prem GB Pro, the policies are very well chartered. Nobody I have not, when I talk to them, they're all praising their companies, which is not very common in case of IT sector.
Really, then ma'am, what can, given that, let us say that there is ceteris paribus, we all are equally risk takers, because the solutions really, since all the policies and schemes are also fatigued, then what do you think in terms of institution or agency, what the push should be? Because really pushing someone to you take your steps or encourage this or that, in terms of institution, what the policy should be? Should MCA make some policies where it makes incorporation or other rules really gender friendly? What should really be required as a disruptive policy for having really equality in management and corporate domain as a way forward? What do you think, your reflections? Yes, Govind ma'am,
Yeah,
you want to come in? Yes.
I think
I just want one sentence to say. Can I say that, Induji?
Yeah,
Just
please,
one
please.
sentence.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Marital
For
home
the topic, yes, because
is
management
the
corporate
biggest
sector,
risk
yes.
management by women. Managing a marital home is the biggest risk management by women. Okay,
Absolutely,
that is
absolutely.
that is what. And if you see demonetization at that time, how much money women have saved, for example, in to deal with the crisis situation, they were saving little, and how they were saving, hiding here, hiding there,
Yes,
in order
yes.
to deal with the crisis. So probably we have to change our attitudes with regard to the risk management. That would be the one thing that I just wanted to. Thank you
Yeah.
for giving me.
Yes.
Yeah, quickly, and I think I just want to come in here as well. I also feel that I think I realize that in terms of, see, we have certain cliches in our heads, certain stereotypes, and I feel that like Govindji, tell me if childbirth is not risk taking.
It's playing with the life.
Life, you're playing with life, your own life. Like there's so many mortalities happening, IMRs happening. So I think risk taking is something which actually many women are born with. It's not a question of learning, they're born with it. I'm not romanticizing it, but I'm saying the fact. Two is, that much of the unpaid work that the women do, what is that? Two. Three is, I think this entire concept of Atmanirbhar, this PM talks about Atmanirbhar, and he doesn't realize that the vendors in a society, the women who are selling fishes and everything in a society, the homeless people who refuse to beg and who refuse to work on the pavements of Delhi, they are Atmanirbhar people. You're teaching Atmanirbhar to whom? To the poor people? They're already Atmanirbhar. So I suppose, some of the nomenclature that are the powers that they use, they have got no grasp of reality. बस एक वोट डाल दो, सब बात करना शुरू कर दे, आत्मनिर्भर हो गया. ऐसे आत्मनिर्भर होता है, गरीब वैसे आत्मनिर्भर है. Tell us what the state is going to do. You can't be washing hands off. It's a state responsibility. Private sector is doing well on the men-women ratio. What is the public sector doing? You should be doing that first, So I think these are the question that your paper raises, your research raises in Samapti is, I think, very interesting, And maybe it's a question to all the private and the public and the corporate and the industries to really delve on as to why this ratio between 80% men and 20% women should be changed, and how it humanizes the corporate sector. It makes it's a good economics also to have more women than men. It's very good economics, So I think that is very important. Maybe through the studies and all we can bring in. I think that will make a lot of difference. Thank you.
Yes, Samapti ma'am, really on the front of MCA and risk taking, that was really the economics jargon, because
sorry Dr. Arjun, I didn't
I really wanted that to bring upon, because this is really I think hardcore economics and in terms of impact and really policy, since we are talking for today's discussion management and corporate sector, and the representation of women and gaps, then we really have not so many of levers other than what we also called in our monetary policy or many of the policy, that you are giving some signaling, or there is moral suasion, as ma'am you are suggesting that Azim Premji Foundation is doing this, and that is really moral suasion. It doesn't have any teeth. Other than that there are best practices. What really can be done in terms, that is why I was mentioning MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, or because company rules has been changed again 2020, as so many of things. Where do you think that kind of disruption should be made in terms of this management and corporate sectors to have more and more women leaders, but other than really the moral suasion, because that really sounds like a sermon. Yes.
No, what I say at that, Dr. Arjun, we can do a lot of things if we have the political will. So if the company wants to create an organizational policy which is very women friendly, because corporate should also remember that, because they are also engaging in the childbirth and all this, they're creating the new generations in the for the future GDP growth. So if they can think, now the question is, if the organization have the political will to design the policy to accommodate the women, so that gender diversity also they can bring in, they can do a lot of things. First of all, flexible work time, childcare policies. Then also I got to know that when I was talking to them, that those women who are not going from a industry for a long time, or I would say that from the particular company from a long time, the only reason is that they get a lot of flexibility. One. Second is that timely raise, and also even if raise is lesser, if they change the company, maybe they get more hike. But then they said that this kind of social angle, cultural angle, we also give a lot of importance. Okay, because peace matters. So if we are in peace, we can work. If I know that my child is secured, I can put a lot of time in my productive work. So those are the things which really very gendered issue, and that's why you can see that we are not focusing on those issues, and that's why we are missing a very well educated, even non-educated also workforce. We are losing GDP earning. Okay. And one more thing, what I want to mention, that now this is the right time for the educated women not to play the role of the patriarchy. They also need to understand that it's their world. They already entered into their world, right? So when I am in the power or leadership position, it's my duty to bring those policies into the practice so that the other women can get the benefit. So that CEO is saying that I want to leave the industry. I said that no, you have to fight. You can leave, you can have a peaceful life, you have money, you can start a enterprise, but what is going to happen to others? So those are the things I think we need to nurture more when we do the training or do the any even casual talk also. We need to bring those things, and I think that with the I call that academicians that academic activist. We have to take the pain, we have to do a lot of research, a lot of publications, and take those publications to the companies.
Yes.
Okay, so I shared my all results to all these HR managers who gave us the permission to access to their managers. So padho, dekho kya aa raha hai. It's your, all the managers are saying it's not, if you are not able to retain, then you will lose. It is loss of them also, right? They're losing their business. Like one example, exceptional example of the BPCL. तब का दिन में BPCL था. So a lady came here to for addressing. So we said that, how did you reach that level? She was the, I think, very big position. I cannot remember that position. She said that I give skill and confidence to me, and I go to the all the UAE countries when the final deal of the Indian government and the UAE government taken place, because I was called by my male colleagues that I am the good negotiator in price, because I am very good at calculation. So जो भी BPCL का negotiate होता था प्राइस का, पेट्रोलियम प्राइस का, क्रूड ऑयल का, that lady was sent because her presentation was the superb. So that's why I'm saying that when you look at that, why 2% are at the CEO position, it's either gender diversity policy or they're highly skilled, and they earn a lot of skill from the informal learning also. It's only from their experience they learn, they take that challenge, they fight back, they prove that I am the inevitable. You can't ignore. So that's the reason. So that's why I'm saying that it is so complex. It's not only that society एक दिन अगर gender stereotype चला गया तो वो पूरा ये हो जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. Because gender stereotyping मान लो society से गया है, but जो entity है, if I carry in my personal life, I want to practice it all the time, isn't it? So all the organization can do, state can do. So
Yes, right.
Yes.
Since Govind ma'am is also here, I really wanted to ask ma'am, do you think because in 90s we really had this East Asian miracle tigers, what we say, then we have China story, a lot of story. In any company rules, in corporation or, that management, has this lever been really, I was very curious to know, been really experimented that what should be done for really corporate and management sector for gender inclusion in our public sector companies, big ones, that there is this some sort of affirmative that we have few people from marginalized, but really not women. Ma'am, what do you think in your experience, there is any legal or per se very powerful tool to embed these things? Yes.
You look at China and I looked at China and I looked at Thailand closely. Otherwise, I've visited other countries also and Vietnam. In all these countries, you find women are really in very high numbers in management. That is I'm talking of the management and kind of production kind. So that is, of course, entire Thailand has the history of matrilineal systems. Okay. And we are highly stratified, caste-based and hierarchical society. And Lynn has given a very kind of one sentence when we get married, then he said, Gharelu Sushil kya hai, Lynn? Gharelu Sushil or Sushil Gharelu homemaker, kind of forgetting that clause. This is how we look at them. But not only home, when they go to company also, we really want submissive women not to raise kind of questions. Otherwise, some kind of excuse would be that they would be thrown out. They want the job to continue, so they don't ask us. This culture of Gharelu and Sushil, Gharelu and Sushil kind of thing is very kind of, or working woman, Gharelu, Sushil, or working woman. So you should bring money, but at the same time you should be Gharelu and you should be also Sushil. Sushil is the kind of modesty not to raise any kind of questions, not to laugh loud, not to kind of speak loud, and that is the kind of culture they create. And of course, in Southeast Asia, they don't talk loud, neither men nor women. I mean, that is the different kind of thing. Talking loud is not their culture. But at the same time, you don't see no parda ridden, no kind of this gharelu kind of thing. There is a lot of movement, kind of freedom that has. Of course, there are ills that have been developed, like sex bazaar in Thailand, which has been reached outside, insider, and American GIs, and everybody has established this. But otherwise, you find that this is the kind of culture that is the behind the basis, where you keep your 50% population dependent on you. How can you economically improve no matter what policies you make? What is the, you are economist, okay, Arjun? Why this declining number of women, both in urban and rural areas, and going down and down? And economists and non-economists are not able to find answers. Oh, education is improving, this is improving. Now the even at primary level it is going down, and you will see what will be the decline after the in the post-pandemic situation. Now this is our culture. We don't see really that they are the human beings. We say that we have human beings and we have subhuman beings in the same kind of, in terms of food, in terms of education, and then what kind of economic empowerment. That's why Shabnam Azmi said, I don't like the word economic empowerment. You remember, empowerment, not economic empowerment. Because this is what we see, that totally disempowered situation, that one is kind of thing. And then you have this kind of palliatives, sleeping tablets ki tarah hote hain na, mind numbing, beti bachao, beti padhao, mudra, this and that kind of, little bit of this kind of programs. Even those programs are not implemented. So how it can get help? We need really rethinking and unlearning what we have learned so far. That is the kind of thing that we need to do. That would be very, very important. Your questions are very important. I like them. We are thinking deeper kind of thing. A lot of people think and they just kind of put a kind of under carpet, or push it in the under carpet, thinking that okay, these questions are uncomfortable, we would not raise. Uncomfortable question need to be raised, only then we can have the clarification. This is my take. Thank you.
Yes. Indu sir, if you want to say anything,
No,
or
no,
Samapti ma'am can have some concluding words. Yes.
No, I think Samapti can surely add something to it, and then maybe I'll just say a few things, and then we.
No, I'm done. I'm done. I think I spoke about the questions.
No, I must first of all thank Samapti Guha for this excellent presentation, and also want to say that we had some very interesting discussion as to why women are not able to reach the top. And we know that through the presentation that it's due to patriarchal reasons as such. Nothing with women's aptitude, nothing with women's competencies, nothing with women's drawbacks. It's actually societal and the patriarchal and maybe the corporate drawback which actually pulls women down. So I think to further rein in women, saying that women are not risk takers and all those things, I think is not apt actually. And I think, you raised some very pertinent questions through your own research and all. And I don't want to further, add more to that. Just saying that it's time that we thank you for your fantastic presentation. Thank Govindji for her contributions, Arjun for his questions, and Simi also, and Lynn also for your observations and certain questions that you made. So thanks a lot for coming over for this series, and we look forward to more engagement with you. And thank you for being here today.
Yes, and thank you. And yes, I really congratulate Samapti ma'am once again for producing this kind of evidence from different industry, really, to highlight and demonstrate, also to record this kind of very useful database, which official statistics we really do not have any. So really wonderful efforts, and really we are thankful for you to come here, and also to your organization, TIS, and all the people who are doing such a wonderful work. Thank you, and have a nice evening. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
thank
I enjoyed thoroughly.
Yes.
Good questions.
Yeah.
Sorry
Thanks a
for
lot.
provoking so much.
Yeah. Yeah. God, thank you. Zindabad. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a